could honestly save quite a bit of money, especially if it was passed down from family member to family member. You could acquire a bit of wealth in Danville. But Teresa's family was not wealthy at all. They were poor and they worked at Dan River Textile Mill for very, very meager pay. Teresa's family were not the type of people that were coming in and giving this job their all, asking for raises, saving money. No, they did their jobs and then went home and got drunk or went for the high life, went for some adrenaline. I mean, their day-to-day was so boring. These are the type of people that were looking for excitement. They definitely were not saving for their future. But in towns like this, getting drunk after work or going out to bars and going dancing and, talking to people, that was normal. That's how people blew off a little bit of steam. Another thing that was pretty normal for Teresa and her family was they went to church every single Sunday. She was a church-going girl. And usually in the South, when you see somebody that is going to the church week over week, every Sunday, maybe they're doing a little Bible study on Wednesdays, you just kind of assume that they have some strong religious morals. But really, you'll find that going to church every Sunday did absolutely nothing for Teresa. Things are slow. Things are boring, but that's life in Danville. Until Teresa turns 16 and she meets a guy at church. I want to be very clear. There's a lot of stories that we'll go through where there's younger girls that end up dating some sleazy older guy that basically traps her into a relationship. But that wasn't exactly the case with Teresa. By all accounts, Teresa liked older men. She liked older men because she could go out and do the things that she wanted to do with them, like go to bars, go drinking, go out dancing. People said that when Teresa found an older guy that she liked, she would heavily pursue them. Now, this could all still be some type of trauma response, but I just want to paint an accurate picture of who Teresa was when she was 16 years old. She saw these older guys as kind of a status symbol of look at how mature I am. And also she saw them as a means to do things that she wanted to do, which were a little bit more adult. Now, this guy was Billy Bean. He was 20 years old and Teresa was 16 years old. Now, nowadays, we would be mean mugging this relationship. 16 and 20 years old, she's still in high school. But this was normal for people in the South, and they just said, oh, she found someone. I know the climate of the internet is a lot different now because a lot of us have dated these older guys and we look back on it like, what the fuck was I thinking? That guy was a creep. But people welcomed this in Teresa's life, so much so that she dropped out of high school and got married to him. So there's elements of Teresa liking these older guys and pursuing them, but then there's also elements of the town just kind of enabling this type of behavior. Drop everything in your life at 16 and marry this guy and become a dedicated wife. I think it's really, really important to take ourselves out of 2024 for a minute and sit in this time period so that you can understand how unprogressive Danville was. There was almost no way out. And for them, the schematic of being happy was getting married, going to church, and having a family. And that's what they did. Now, that's Teresa's family that says, yeah, you go, girl, go do that. Go drop out of school in the 11th grade and marry that church-going guy. Can you believe it? I wonder if this is still the sentiment in small towns or if the internet completely broke this up. But it's just crazy to me reading this now. But the one person that didn't really endorse it was Billy Bean's mom. It was Teresa's new mother-in-law. She actually later went on to say that Teresa was, quote, not quite right. She called this out from the beginning, but it's Danville. We're not really causing many problems. We're just keeping to ourselves and going to the textile mill. But Teresa's new mother-in-law was kind of side-eyeing her. But, I mean, who knows what she saw? I do know that in the South and in Christian communities, we tend to minimize mental health. She may have had blaring signs of something being wrong, but in the South, we dwindle it down to, something's not right, but I'm not going to get into that. But she noticed Teresa was odd. Whatever her mother-in-law sees is unclear, but just a few years later, they divorced. Teresa begins to spiral because, remember, she was a 16-year-old girl that was whisked off into marriage. She didn't have any concept of life. She didn't have any goals or aspirations. She didn't know how to deal with any of her emotions. And now she's dealing with her first divorce at 18. Well, she does what everybody else in Danville does. She gets some alcohol, and then she also gets addicted to painkillers. People that come from a family that have a history of addiction are so prone to substance abuse when they encounter an emotion that is heavy and they don't know how to deal with. Grief is heavy. Abandonment is heavy. Feeling like you're not good enough is heavy. These are all things that could be circulating in an 18-year-old girl when she's going through her first divorce. So Teresa doesn't know how to deal with it. Everyone in Danville just modeled a behavior of keep your head down, keep working, have a drink about it. And that's the thing. When you do drugs, when you do painkillers, when you drink, it numbs out this emotion. And so anytime that feeling of I'm not good enough comes up, you can just drink it away. Anytime that you feel that abandonment, you can just numb it out. And this becomes the cycle. And from a very young age, she never, ever learned how to deal with any emotions. She just numbed them out. At this point, she's broke, addicted to drugs and alcohol, and divorced. So she goes to work at Dan River Textile Mill. Today's sponsor is Miracle, and I'm stoked on it because, look, y'all know I barely sleep at night, but when I do and I need a good sleep, I need good bedding, okay? Have you ever had like an amazing sleep at a hotel before? It's not the mattress, okay? It's not the hotel. It's the bedding. I'm telling you, this is one of the most important parts of getting a good sleep. And if you're somebody that runs hot or cold at night, Miracle bedding is especially made for you. They have temperature regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. And it's soft, it's comfortable. Look, sheets are something that I think you should make the investment in. Why? Because you use it every single day and it's reusable. All you gotta do is throw your Miracle bedding into the washing machine and it's good to go. Personally, I'm still stuck on the comfort and quality, but Miracle sheets are also antibacterial, so you can minimize gross odors and you can protect your skin a little bit more. Just try them out. If you want to give it a shot, all you got to do is go to trymiracle.com/sinister. Right now, you can save over 40%, and if you use our promo code Sinister, you get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Look, you know I love a deal. Go to trymiracle.com/sinister. Now, I want to remind you guys, which I kind of try to do through every Sinister episode, that when I'm telling these stories, these people may seem very, very human in the beginning. But that's why a lot of us watch true crime. We want to know, oh my God, how did somebody get to the point of murder? And that's what I want to know too. I want to know this so I can look at the people around me or look at myself as well and figure out how this happened. I mean, it's a self-defense thing that we kind of have. We're looking at our surroundings wondering, are you going to kill me? Could I kill somebody? What led somebody to this point? Especially a woman that may have been through some things that you've been through, right? So my entire point of the show is to look for the human at the beginning, but the human that went wrong and did something that now has them cast out of society, which is murder. When you kill someone, you are no longer in the same societal group as the rest of us. And I want to know when that point happens. So I want to remind you that sure, I do try to find the human in these people in the beginning, but there's a reason for that. And there's always a point where they go off the beaten path. If you're ever listening to one of these stories and you feel like you've been through something similar that they have, don't forget, these people are killers. They let their perfectly normal problems that a lot of us have been through before consume them to the point of murdering another human being. You can listen to the story. You can understand how we got to this point. That's why we listen to true crime a lot of the time. But I want to remind you that these people are nothing